such the world of SEO, right? I think I have a bit of a theory about that. Have we started already? We're good?
We're rolling, so
Yeah, cool. I think I find that a lot, and I think it might be partly due to sometimes one strategy will work in a certain niche in SEO and it just won't work in another niche. And it's not so much that the person is like wrong or lying, it's that from their experience, for some reason, it went through the cracks and it did work. And they kind of really attached to that one thing working. And I think it's just like that picture of two people arguing and there's a six at the bottom on the ground and one person says it's a nine, the other person says it's a six, kind of thing, where it's like, some things tend to work in some niches, others not. But yeah, I get that all the time. People saying
Joy
that.
Joy Hawkins, who's pretty well known in SEO, she came on the show, I think it was last week, and she said the same thing, which
Right.
is that it's like, no, it does work. It just didn't work for you because you didn't do it the right way,
Yeah.
or like, or actually like you got lucky and it worked for you, but it doesn't. It's not the type of thing that works for most people.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right.
But
Yeah.
what I don't
So,
understand is like the SEO. I feel like the SEO industry is so tribal. There's so much anger and like hostility in the industry, and I've always felt that honestly since I
yeah.
started in SEO for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, the thing about SEO is you can just learn it and do it by yourself. So you don't like if people don't like you, doesn't matter. You can still rank your site. But like I do feel like there's a lot of tribalism in the
Yeah.
industry.
There is, I think so as well. I mean, if you ever spend a 5 minutes on the subreddits of SEO and you find that people are just arguing among themselves, there's a guy that posts all the time. I think he's called the Angry SEO guy or something like that. He gives genuinely good advice, but everyone's just angry online about SEO, about works and what doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. The angry SEO guy is like the perfect caricature. And there is a lot of like it's but what I don't really understand is because if you want to do SEO well or do anything well, you need to be curious. So when somebody says something that you disagree with and you don't have the experience to judge it, instead of being like you're an idiot, just try to find more because maybe it's going to change your perspective.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I tell people. Like, be open minded, but have a massive bag of salt with you. Like, take everything with a huge grain of salt, but don't just write it off because it sounds too good to be true. Most of the time, it is, but it's worth kind of, I think, even even toying with the idea that a strategy might just work because it does for some reason.
Is there anything that you've seen recently that's not I don't want to say challenge your perception, but like had you be like, "Oh, snap. Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't expect that."
I didn't expect so many short form videos being indexed and ranking really well for some reason. Like, it obviously depends on the search, but I find this more and more that depending on the search and how that search intent is better answered, more often than not, I or anyone can outrank, quote unquote, someone really big by doing a short form video. And it's not so much that you are like traditionally SEO outranking them, like your link is higher, but your video is higher than everything else. So you're taking a lot more screen real estate. So in essence, you kind of are outranking them. I think that is really undervalued, the short form content stuff to this day. Like, I'm surprised that TikTok ranks so well for certain queries. And it's just like, do the content not so much from I mean, hopefully it goes viral, but if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Like, it's, you're still cementing yourself as your, and associating the large language models with you and that content. I think that was really surprising for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard some people call it parasite SEO, using TikTok, Instagram Reels, using Facebook Reels, using YouTube to do parasite SEO. But I don't really think it's like I don't really see it as being black hat. I
No.
it's like do keyword research and make videos on what people care about that's related to you.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is that?
Exactly.
That's very different than I think it becomes parasite SEO if you have like a creator recommend your brand targeting a keyword and they don't disclose like a partnership. That's
Sure.
like it's same thing with Reddit. Whereas like if you're posting on Reddit anonymously to recommend your own brand and you're targeting keywords, that's when it's really parasite SEO. But I like
Yeah.
but like, man, yeah, the opportunities with UGC and social video for SEO are so, and like you said, it takes up more SERP real estate too. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, and like, man, I shared this recently. I made one video about how .xyz sites do worse with SEO. This was something that John Mueller said in the SEO subreddit. He's like, .xyz sites actually rank worse. There's like a lot of reasons why they won't do as well. And so I made one video about this, and that video, if you search .xyz sites SEO, that one video shows up #1 for the top 3 positions on YouTube Shorts, on Facebook Reels, and on Instagram Reels. And Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels use the same exact description. It uses the same copy with the same thumbnail.
It's not. I think people love to everyone's after the hack for new SEO, and I don't think there might be a hack, but like we said last time, it'll just get patched. And I think like if you just answer the questions, do the content, and for businesses do more transactional type pages, then you're bound to do well. People want this kind of secret thing to outrank everybody, and the truth of it is like you just kind of have to do the work. If you can do it efficiently with automations and AI, great. But I don't think there's quote unquote a hack, and there shouldn't be either, right? I think if you can hack it, then that defeats the purpose of a good search engine.
Are you using any automations, or how to use AI?
Two ways. So I guess one of the main ways that we find really effective is you need to make more transactional style pages. So for example, if a plumber is working across different areas in Dallas, let's take it, in Texas, and the plumber has 5 core services, sort of like pipe leak repair, 24-hour installation, emergency services, and all that, and they want to rank for 10 places, then that's 40 pages they need to build of transactional content. So then we run automations that we give a assistant GPT all the information, and then we join that assistant GPT with research so that it creates all the page content. You want to segment it though. You want to give the GPT like a sentence or two to write, as opposed to get one shot to write the whole thing. So then you can write 400 pages really easily that are really transactional. That's one. And then the other way that we're using it is the projects feature, man, is the most underrated thing in the world. So whenever someone's starting out in a competitive niche, what I get them to do is download all the competitor data, the site map, as well as theirs, put it in a GPT project with a prompt, and giving it all that information just tells you exactly why they're outranking you and why you need to do. So not only from like content creation perspective, but from a organization perspective, where you can dump all this data that would take you days, or me would take weeks to sift through the data and turn it into actionable insights. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about using AI for SEO things. Like it just makes sense of all this data that you need to literally sift through manually.
This method of marketing is so effective, I had to make sure it wasn't against Google's rules before I kept doing it. It's a form of SEO I call compact keywords. Whereas most SEO focuses on putting up articles to answer questions how, what, when, compact keywords focuses on putting up dozens of pages that sell to searchers who are actually looking to buy. These pages rank on Google and convert so much better than normal that when I discovered this years ago, I couldn't believe this was allowed. It's less work too. The average compact keywords page is only 415 words. Compact Keywords is a 13-hour deep course on getting sales with SEO. A customer recently said, "Each lesson is dense with information. You're giving years worth of experience boiled down into 15 to 30-minute lessons with no filler or fluff. I feel like I'm gaining a new superpower." Compact Keywords is about setting up an SEO funnel that brings you sales for years and years and years. It works with AI, it's less work than traditional SEO, and it makes way more money. You can get it now at compactkeywords.com. Back to the podcast. Okay, so man, I have like a million questions. So first I want to go to what you said about scaling up all of these pages. So how do you, number one is, how do you avoid them being doorway pages, which are just like basically the copy is the same, the images are the same, but the keywords are shifted out?
So we first get the end goal. So I tell the person, what does your end page look like? And usually there's a title, there's a little call out, there's a couple of maybe 6 blocks of content with an FAQs. You can also, within the automation, you can call things like fall.ai. Fall.ai is like the open router version of image models. So you can call image models like Flux. So therefore, we not only make the content, but we create every specific image for that page
I don't know if
en
this is
masse.
possible. Is it possible for you to share your screen?
Okay, so we're looking at an automation where the input is a Google Sheet where you just have in one row the service and then the other row the location. This was built, I first came up with when I was working for a large real estate company in Dubai. These guys, like, they make so many projects that it takes them like a team of 5 people to create all the content for it. So the Google Sheet, this module gets the name of the location and the service, for example. We do research on that location with Perplexity. And then we grab that research from Perplexity only. So then ChatGPT isn't using it in its internal knowledge. And then each one of these modules with the GPT symbol are GPTs that are assigned to write one section of that page alone. So this one, for example, writes the history section. This one writes the what to do section. The property types in that section. You can do like the average growth of the historical value of those locations, and then an FAQ section. And you can continue this to get another GPT to write you the schema for that page, for example. And then we put all that in a Google Doc, we write it in the meta description, and we put it back into a Google Sheet all nicely organized. So here you can create, 400 pages if you want in one go. All you have to pay for is really the API credits when you're using GPT and Perplexity. But the good thing is that you can use a pretty cheap model. This isn't rocket science, so GPT-4o is more than good enough, right? And then you can take this a step further. This is our like content generation automation that'll take a blog post. So this is number one of the flow. It'll take from an RSS feed the blog post. It'll create the content and rewrite it for LinkedIn, for Facebook, for Slack, or whatever you want. And then this is part two. When you approve it, it'll go to make a HTTP call to a thing called Flux, which is the image generator that will create an image for that post based on the content from the blog post. So that way you can do all of this content plus the images just through an automation. Now, I always recommend there is always needs to be a human checking the content before it goes out. But usually once you use this for a month or two, you kind of get the sense of the prompt and how you need to change it. But you can create a lot more pages en masse, still adding value. And as long as you have the title, the content, and the schema appropriate to the page, then you really don't get done for content duplication. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So,
Mm.
how long did it take to actually refine this? Like, if somebody wants to do something like this themselves. Oh, and how are the pages? How are the pages actually put up? So you made
Oh,
400
yeah.
pages. How do you
Yeah.
actually have them put into the CMS?
So that's where this needs to be customizable. So we give you I came out with a blueprint first because the client had a really weird CMS. I can't even remember the name of it, but it wasn't WordPress or Shopify. It was one of the older ones that was clunky. So on their end, they had people that could copy and paste the content that is essentially in a Google Sheet, right? Let me just see if I can get a template here. Local SEO page templates to show you what the output could look like. But if you have it correctly set up to your WordPress, you can essentially upload it to WordPress, but the connections from Make or even N8N, any automation software, to the CMS are always a little bit clunky. So let me show you. It really is quite simple. Like, it's nothing incredible. So like, this is the input that I was talking about. So Carlton, Melbourne, and then the output would look like the location, the page title, the meta description, and then a doc with all the strategy together. I've got a bit of a mixture here.
And sorry,
So
the page title, meta description, those are being generated as well by
yeah,
ChatGPT,
everything. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
by
given the
GPT.
input that we
Mhm.
gave it from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, and it took me a long while to understand that it needs to be cut up into bite-sized pieces. That's why, like, this is only 200 words, 200 words, 200 words, because when you're creating a lot of pages, if you get one shot, or if you get GPT to do the page in one shot, then all those 100 pages, there's too much variation in them. Whereas if you give the GPT a bite-sized thing to do, 200 words with some restrictions, then it's a lot easier to scale this, and all the pages will look similar, but will have the specific content for them. So it took me a while to first understand how to do it correctly, and now that I've got the template, I can just change the template to meet the requirement of whoever I need to meet.
Are you having another agent like look over the output?
No, I probably could do that. Add like a double checking agent before, but I would usually either give the final content to the client, and they usually have like a person that needs to double check everything. But once you check the first like 10 or 20, then they can skim through it pretty quickly once it's okay. We run one or two tests to see if they like the output. Once they're happy with the output, then you can scale. So I wouldn't like set this up and do 100 pages right away. I would set this up, do one or two automations so you get the content of 2 pages. And then once you're happy with that, we can move on to do, hundreds and hundreds of pages.
Can you show what a few of your prompts look like?
Yeah, they're not too complicated. Let's see. So they got to be amended for the actual thing. So, for example, you're an SEOX content writer, taking only the information into consideration because I only want it to use the content from Perplexity. I don't want it to use anything else. Otherwise, the GPTs will gather like different information from all the training data set. Write a brief history of the town, for example. Do not create a title, just provide a well-structured paragraph that is easy to read, detailing the town's history. Ensure the output is between 100 and 150 words. ChatGPT sucks at counting words, but that's kind of a good variation.
Mm.
And do not exceed the length as well. And then we provided some more information. So they're not like, the easier you make it for the GPT, the better the outputs will be. And they're all pretty much that long. They're not extremely complicated, but we're also not getting it to do extremely complicated things.
And then
Like it's just
what do your images look like? Are they just like, do they actually represent the keyword that you're targeting, or do they just like show like an image of the city?
yeah, they'll show. I wonder if I've got any in for. That's probably the hardest thing to get right, to come up with a prompt that will represent the styling of the actual page or the client. Sorry, one second. Let me see if I can log on here to this one, because we need to do, if it's a big client with a bunch of pages, the first thing you need to get is you need to reverse engineer what their images look like, or the styling. So you give the image to something like Gemini or GPT, and you tell it to describe the image, and then you need to reverse engineer that into a prompt where you can change just different attributes, like create me a scene of this location with a Caucasian real estate agent with a blue suit, for example. But the styling is really important. I don't think I've got many ones here to show you, but let me see if I can find any of the past images. But it's been a while since I've used this one here. Anyway, this is for what I'm showing, and this is kind of the. Do you know what Open Router is? Open Router is essentially one API key to rule them all. So you can access every single large language model with one API key, right? So this is like, I'm trying Quen here. There's a really cool thing that you can do where, for example, I can ask all the flagship models the same question and the answer will come out. So let's do this silly one like the strawberry test, right? And I am, with one API key, accessing Gemini, Claude, GPT-5, and Grok at the same time. So the interesting thing here is you can, with one API key, access every single model with one automation. Now, all that to say that Fall.ai is like Open Router, but for the image generation models and the video models. So I can access with one API key Quen image, Kling, which is a video image generator, anything from Google and things like that. So it's a lot more flexible in that manner. I don't need to keep track of 20 different API keys for my 20 different models. I just have one. and that's what we're connecting with the automation with this call here, the HTTP request. Yeah.
So how are you scaling up these pages? You can make the pages really fast, but you want to. I assume that you're not putting all 400 up as fast as you
No,
can.
no, 100% no. There's a really good use case with inside our community, someone that's done like over 1,400 pages, Stephen Marks, and he was indexing about 10 at a time, 10 at a week, sorry. And then we do that for a month,
Wait. So
and then we
so he
look
was only putting up 10 a week.
10 a week,
Uh-huh.
correct? 10 like transactional style
And
pages.
before that, how many pages was he putting up each week?
Only blog posts before
And
that.
how many
And
blog
this was
posts a week do you think?
at the most 3 to 4 a
Okay.
week.
So it's a
Yeah.
very gradual scale.
Well, so here's the thing. What we do is for the first month, we try to do no more than 10 pages or 5 pages, depending on the historical publication. And then we do it for the first 4 weeks. And then you look at the data from Google Search Console. And if everything's being indexed and the clicks are going up and the search appearances are going up, then you can take it up a notch, not like go from 10 to 20, but you might be able to all of a sudden publish 15 pages a week. But then I would test that. So publish 15 a week, see if Google is still indexing and you're getting more clicks and appearances. If not, then you need to dial it back. So I always do everything from like a data-driven approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
that's like a mistake that a lot of people do, is that they try to scale things up just from 0 to 100.
Yeah, and I think it's only common sense, right? If all of a sudden you're publishing 100 pages a week when you haven't really published anything, it sets massive flagship like red flags to Google.
Yeah, totally. Have you I don't know if you've seen me talk about this. I used to talk a lot about AInvest.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what you showed me reminded me of how AInvest does its articles, because it's very clear that its articles are very similar. And AInvest, it's like, to people think it's a manual penalty what happened to it. I don't think it's a manual penalty at all. Like, just looking on SEMrush, AInvest is still at 631,000 clicks a month, and
Yeah.
at the end of the June core algorithm update, it was at 275,000 clicks a month. So it's still up more than 2x, and it's like drop off has been like, it's been slow. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a manual penalty. I think it's more likely that it happened from the spam update, which people will disagree with me on. People want to blame me because I was talking about it nonstop. But I've still, they're up over 2x. So with entirely AI generated financial content. What do you
Which is nuts.
go?
Which is
Yeah,
nuts when you think about it.
it's really nuts, and they were caught misattributing like things within their content. Like I talked about this guy. He has fatgrid.com. He put out a press release to push down a comparison page for his company. This negative comparison page. He put out a press release to push it down. It worked, and the press release mentioned SEMrush and mentioned the SEMrush stock drop. And so AInvest attributed the SEMrush stock drop to this guy's company, FatGrid, put up an article on it automatically, which was unchecked, and that ranked, I think, like number 1 or 2 for SEMrush stock drop, improperly attributing the stock drop. And so it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so do you think it was a manual penalty, or do you think it was a result of the spam core algorithm update?
I think it's probably. I don't think Google. I know, good question. I think it's a result of the algorithm update and probably because the niche they're in, like investment and crypto. We have a lot of people the way we help. They want to get into crypto blogging, and I always say, okay, like you need to try and do as much EEAT as possible. The fact that they got so high in the first place by AI generated content is honestly amazing for me. If it would have been a manual penalty, I don't think they would be where they are at the moment. Like they're still up in my book, right?
Yeah, they're up to over 2x.
Yeah, so for sure.
Now,
I think
granted, day over day they do look to be declining, but it's a very slow decline.
Yeah, no. If it would have been a manual, I think that would have been like pretty much down to zero or very close, right?
I think they would have lost a lot more than they did. When people are doing AI generated content, especially mass amounts, what are some mistakes you see people making?
Um, Not putting any of their own insights into it. So I think I always tell people that AI shouldn't be a replacement of your copywriting. It should be a support of your copywriting, like an extension. So you can do it en masse whilst it's still valuable and adding your insights. You can use things like machined AI and say, hey, inject this of my insights into it. And I think when people purely use AI without thought and they think, oh, if I write a 3,000 word blog post, it'll be better than if I write a 1,000 word blog post. So they just think the more content, the better. That's where the mistake is, I think. I think it needs to be an extension in the sense of like, my spelling is horrible and I can speak better than I can write. So I use AI. I usually like record with Auto.ai or even any transcript tool my thoughts and go, hey, can you just structure this properly so it makes sense? And there I'm using AI completely, but it's my original thought. I think that's where people go wrong because then you're just adding to the dead internet theory and you're literally creating like AI regurgitated slop if you put no effort into it.
Yeah.
That's the main error that people make.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So do you have like a really long documentation in order to like inform the AI what to actually put on a page for the keyword?
I think about once a month or once every 3 weeks, I'll sit down and I'll add either wins from the community that we've helped them or my insights into the things that I've learned that month. I literally just like record them and I put them in a project within GPT. And then every time that I'm writing a blog post, the GPT is instructed to look through all the documentation that it has, and wherever possible, and it seems that it makes sense, it'll add my experience into that and the learnings into that automatically.
Yeah, but are you doing like when you have these location pages being generated?
Oh, right. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you have
yeah.
a lot of documentation for the company.
Not for the services pages, no, to be honest. Only like for the about us and stuff like that. And depending on the company and the niche. So if it's a plumber, for example, and those type of services, we don't require, or at least I don't think at this point in time, we haven't needed much additional information. If it's a real estate company, we get a lot of these guys that they sell or they buy or sell houses fast for cash. Therefore, you need to have the documentation of that state from a legality perspective of the requirements they need to buy or sell a house. So if the niche deems that we need a bit more information, then yes. But otherwise, no. I kind of take it on a case by case basis on the niche, really.
Crazy
Yeah.
complexity.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's like one size fits all, right? I don't think it should be. Maybe it is, and
No,
maybe
it
there is a
shouldn't
bit
be.
easier
It
way.
shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
people who are doing these things poorly are the ones who are just trying to copy verbatim what somebody else is doing instead of adapting it to them.
yeah, yeah. I think you can use like the blueprint of an automation to make things smoother, but that doesn't mean take away I don't know, the things you need to worry about. Like if you're writing a lot of pages for a lawyer or for a person that's selling, real estate or things like that fall clearly under your money, your life, then yeah, do the due diligence, put the information in there.
So let me ask you,
Yeah.
one, like when you start scaling up content, when do you actually stop? When you're like, all right, we have enough, and then two, are you ever scaling up content in sync with like brand mentions and link building?
No, I probably don't do that enough particularly the brand mention. So I work to be very honest for myself and for the bigger clients we work with. Get me links. There's a guy called the CEO is called Alejandro Meirhans, really cool guy, expert when it comes to backlinks. And generally, the way that I think about it and that I see perform really well is if it's a brand new website, we worry about brand mentions for the first 2 months of backlinking so that there's some authority within the entity mention itself, right? And then, depending on the complexity or the competition of that, the client that we're getting into, if a month we touch or we're scaling content about a certain thing, then we need to pick a pillar content, pick a blog post that we are linking to so that ideally that blog post gets a lot of the authority. And because we're linking from that blog post to the other content, the majority of the content, that link juice is spread out, theoretically. But I probably don't have and I probably should make one, like a approach where we mentioned this, we need some publications from some news outlets for this. I probably don't do that enough, to be honest.
Yeah. But you're using this guy. Do you have favorite link building tactics? Or are
um
you like, are
I
you done
think
doing link building yourself for
I,
yourself?
uh, I wish I would. I wish I was, but I've seen how well it works, and it's annoying that it's not annoying, but it's still relevant. I think for small businesses, the first thing that we get them to do is obviously the local citations. It's the easiest thing. I think one that isn't so much a link building, but it does get you a lot of links, is building. It seems silly, but it still works. Simple HTML web apps that solve one problem that your users having, and you get links to that. Low, so like for example, if you're a jeweler, have a ring size calculator. If you build decks, have an estimation of how much the cost
Let
of
me
the
tell
deck
you what,
build
let me
will
tell you
be.
what the next level. So linkable assets. I love linkable assets. Next level of it is putting in a share feature. So you have this like ring calculator, and then you get a page where you can share it with somebody, and the page looks really beautiful. And yeah, and now people are actually sharing links on your domain. And man, it's like I love linkable assets, especially like web apps for that reason, because you put in
Yeah,
these share features.
yeah. Like we've got, I think I've got 7 free SEO tools in my website where I'm using like the data for SEO. So like it's actual real data, but I'm paying cents, not even fraction of a cent for every time that somebody uses it. But as long as you can build a web app that solves a little problem that someone's having, it's kind of forcing them to go to the website, because it's not, the AI overview or GPT won't build that asset within the search. That's
Or it won't
the
be fast enough, even if it could, or
yeah,
it
yeah.
won't be exactly what you want, or it'll take time to make it exactly what you want.
Yeah, and then to be honest, I'll outsource it to someone that I'm comfortable with at the moment. That like not this isn't like a sponsored thing. I just know the CEO as well with Get Me Links. I've tried the Hoth and Rhino Rank before, and if you are outsourcing it, it's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it, but you just need to know what you're doing, because it's why I tell people never buy backlinks from Fiverr. It's not that all backlinks from Fiverr are bad. It's that it's a lot easier to get somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, and they can promise 10,000 backlinks, and that's not the issue. That's not the point. It's the quality, and it's so much easier to get a bad batch, let's say, of bad backlinks on Fiverr. It's not yeah. So if you know what you're doing, if you can spot out a bad backlink or a domain authority that's been manipulated, if you can do that, then you can outsource it. But otherwise, you got to be really
What do you
careful.
recommend? I made an entire episode on why people shouldn't be buying backlinks from Fiverr.
Mm.
What do you? It was a hilarious episode. It was an entire thread on the SEO subreddit where just everyone was trashing Fiverr backlinks. It was
Yeah,
like really funny. They're
yeah,
like buy Fiverr backlinks if you want to get your website penalized. That's
yeah,
when you should do it.
yeah.
Um, what do you? So for new people who are starting with SEO, or who are starting with link building, or they're creating a site, what do you recommend for links?
I think we all forget that whilst it's technically a lot of these are do no follow links, so start with your social media profiles. Like people think they're in a certain category and maybe TikTok won't make sense for them. If it doesn't matter. So build all your social media profiles linking to your website first of all. That's one. If you're a local business, simply Google or GPT free online business directories in my country and fill all of those out. And then if you're in a more competitive niche, you can start with like smaller packages, which I recommend from Get Me Links. They're not the most cheap, but they are good because they sit down with you and they go, okay, show me the website. Great. This is what we're going to do. But you can start with local citations for most businesses. We work with a lot of local businesses, and that tends to do the trick. If you're working with a lot of people for local SEO, then get yourself on what's it called? What's the local SEO linking tool?
There's a
I
bunch of
forget
them.
it, but it's like,
Summers has one.
yeah, right. Well, it's one of those ones. They're like they already have all the,
Summers local. I've used that. That's like you
yeah,
click a button.
bright
It's
local.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's another one as well. I think I'd start with there and keep it simple. I think for some people they can these like linking from Reddit things kind of can work, but it's so much you can get mixing it all, and like I just go do the fundamentals. The fundamentals still work
Fundamentals are
always.
great.
Yeah,
Fundamentals are
yeah, yeah.
overrated.
So
How do you build EAT? EAT is like so important in 2025. EAT and topical authority. And I talk about it a lot, and I feel like I don't even talk about it enough because it's just so important.
yeah, I think I just finished recording a video where I mentioned this, and I think EAT for me anyway, the way that I like to simplify things. I might talk to my lack of intelligence more than anything else, but I like to keep EAT into the content that you've touched about, that you've talked about, so becoming the topical authority figure in your niche, and how many people are referencing you. So the first part in what you've talked about, write, go to people also ask, answer Socrates, get every single frequently asked questions about your topic, write blog post about it, do short content about it, and diversify. So I think EAT is really aided when you diversify into videos like we were talking before and blog posts. That's one. And then people get angry or upset. They think that blog posts are a waste of time these days because they don't get much traffic from it. And I think that, sure, that's the case for most informational type content. You're going to get less traffic. That doesn't mean it's a waste of time. I think you need to think about it in a sense of you're now training the large language models to associate your entity with that, with answering that keyword. So it's not a waste of time. You don't get traffic, but the metric, the KPI changes. So that's one side of it. And then the other EAT is just people linking to you, and it just works not only from a perspective of ranking well, but getting indexed right away. Like if you've got those links pointing to you, you just get indexed so much quicker. If you get indexed quicker, you'll get seen quicker. I see so many people that write so many blog posts that are thin, first of all, and then they go to the Google Search Console profile and they see that dreaded message, crawled but not indexed, which is Google's passive aggressive way of saying, I read it, I think it's shit. Yeah. So I think those are the two things. Like you need to write a lot more content. You need to show your expertise, really. And I wonder, like I haven't done the test, but I'd be really interested to see if you can create a fake persona, have it in LinkedIn, and like you make this, I don't know if you're in real estate or if you're a lawyer, you can probably fake a LinkedIn account and do all this. It'll still be the same amount of work, but you can probably fake it. I haven't done it, but yeah. And then I still think that EAT is a bit wishy-washy. I don't know the exact parameters that make EAT, to be honest. Yeah. Like expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. Okay, sure. What do these all things actually mean? And like I've tried to get some sort of foundation of it, but I think it's changing a lot. And in a very Google way, Google doesn't give you the exact things that really make EAT, right? Like they say backlinks is one of them. Show you expertise is another. Okay, right? What does that exactly mean? Yeah.
But I do think there are some things that people overlook that are important for it, like have an about page, have like a privacy policy, have a terms of use,
Oh,
have
yeah,
social profiles.
yeah.
Like,
Have an author bio.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think the author bio helps a lot. I think particularly when we're writing in those niches that require a little bit more trust. I always tell people like you need an author bio, and they say, "What if I didn't write it?" Kind of doesn't really matter, but we need that author bio so we can see who read this, the CEO of the company. Great, even if he checked it, read through it, whatever. But yeah, that we see make a lot of change, a lot of improvements, and I wasn't expecting as well.
all right, I have a cool question. So for people who have, because you see this all the time, people will scale up content using AI, like you showed,
Mhm.
and it'll work, and it'll work, and it'll work until it doesn't work. And then people,
Yeah,
they either get hit, they either get hit with a manual action or algorithmic, which is kind of happening with AInvest. The algorithmic or manual. Personally, I think it's probably algorithmic, but they're still hit. They're up 2x, so it's still a win, but they're still hit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what have you seen that causes people to be hit who are initially succeeding using mass amounts of AI generated content?
We see this, like I've seen this a bit where people come to me and there's no real explanation, or sometimes they do the AI content with the human content and just get hit a lot. I think one cause might be publishing a lot of content, like too much content, without being very careful about that scheduling of the publication, like just going 100%. without going into it. But I think one of the things that's going to help you is diversify. I think it was Neil Patel that said it, like it's all about search everywhere optimization. Hence
Everyone is
why
saying that now. Every single
yeah,
expert who has come onto this podcast has said diversify.
because it makes sure that if you do get hit, right, as a lot of people do, then there's still traffic coming from these other sources like YouTube. If you're going to spend time anywhere, I would recommend it for anyone for YouTube. I don't care if your business is literally about watching paint dry, you need a YouTube channel. But
Yo,
we
I feel like
see,
if you streamed watching paint dry, people watch some weird stuff
yeah,
nowadays. Yeah.
probably, yeah. I mean, I'm getting a lot of things about streamers getting flack for like what's it called? I don't know if you've seen it in TikTok. I don't know if his name's Kai, but he's getting a lot of flack for Begathon on his stream. Anyway, I'm sure it would work though. I'd rather watch paint
A
dry than a lot of these
begathon?
streamers. Yeah. That's the one.
What
That's
is a
the one. Yeah.
begathon? I'm not familiar with that.
So the like really popular streamer Kai or
Kai Sanat.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he does these things called mafiathons, where if you pay for a subscription, it'll add 3 seconds to his stream
Oh,
or
that's
something
funny.
like that. Yeah, and now he just didn't get a good stream at all, and he was kind of begging for people to give him money essentially to keep the stream longer. It was quite sad.
Really?
Yeah, that's all
Oh
over my
no.
social profile for some reason right now. But I think back to that question, we see it happen all the time. A lot of the times, I don't know. Like you look at all the data, and they got hit, and they shouldn't have gotten hit. So sometimes it feels random, and I think that's why it's more important than ever to also not put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just optimize for Google for everything else, because sometimes we crawl the website, we do the screaming frog crawl. We do all the analysis that we can do to try and figure out why they were hit. And I would say even like 40% of the time, we have no straight answer for the user. And we just go, we need to go for process of elimination. Do you have good backlinks? No, let's get some. Do you have schema? No, let's put it on. What's your content like? Are you internally backlinking? And you need to go by process of elimination to be able to recuperate that, because no one's going to give you an answer. But sometimes it seems to be a bit random, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a kind of an unpopular thing to say. But at the end of the day, when you are doing the strategy, you are going up against Google's engineers who are literally trying to design the algorithm. Google pays as much money as they can to the smartest people in the world and you're fighting them, which is,
Yeah, right.
that's essentially what it is. And
yeah, I haven't thought about that way.
You've never thought about it that way?
No, but it makes
this is a very
sense.
popular, and look, I talk about black hat SEO all the time on the show, especially parasite SEO, which is extraordinarily interesting because you see it everywhere. When you know how to recognize it, you see it everywhere. But and AI generated content, you see that everywhere as well. But at the end of the day, it's like you just have to know your own tolerance for risk as well, because you literally are like, Google pays top dollar to the smartest engineers in the world, and they have, Google has an army of these people trying to stop you. It's not you specifically, but it's people like
no, but I know what you mean.
and not only that, they have all the data in the world to literally, like, they have all the data to find all the patterns. So, but what I like that you showed is how you are very careful about what you are doing, and you are emphasizing it's very important to review. It's very important to scale things up gradually and strategically, and to not move too fast every step of the way. And the biggest mistakes that people make is they got greedy. They moved too fast. That's, I mean, greed is the downfall. So many, it's like in every industry, it is the downfall. And
100%. We all the time. And I think that, like, when things go wrong, you're never gonna get, like, Google's never gonna give you the exact answer of what happened to your website on a silver platter. Never. Like, it never does, unless it was a manual review. But even then, so I think the only way to do this is process of elimination, both to check the error, but both to actually start a strategy. Like, you need to do the steps, so that you kind of cover all your bases to limit the possibility of you all of a sudden getting hit. I think that's really the only way to go about it, which isn't as sexy and it's not as like hacky, but it's the one way that I think we've seen good progress on most niches. Like I haven't obviously worked in every single niche out there, but I think those step-by-step guides are the only really way to go.
I,
Particularly when you're dealing with someone else's business, and if it's your fault that wrecks it, it's like, well, yeah.
yeah, I would bet. I would bet the two biggest things that cause people to fail are with this is that one, the velocity. That's easily like the biggest thing. But then two, like, do you have like a million ranking pages, or like all of your top ranking pages? Do they fit? Because it's always a cat and mouse game to detect AI writing. It's like one party is able to detect it, and now like a new model comes out, and the writing is improved, and it's undetectable. And it's always a cat and mouse game. And it's like, okay, so like all these ranking pages, they fit this pattern that we've seen before. And however, like AInvest got up to 9.6 million clicks a month in so.
Yeah, I think like I'm a pretty strong believer in whether I'll be proved wrong one day. I'm happy if I do. I really don't think it's whether you write it with AI or not, if it matters. Like, have you put some thought
That's what it
into
is. No, you're right. It's have you put thought into it?
Yeah.
Have you put thought into it? Is it actually like, would you actually send this to somebody who, like, would you send this to your mom? I think that's, like, I'm going to call it the mom test. The mom test.
Yeah.
Like, is this,
Would mom be proud?
yeah, or it's not even that. Is this good enough that you would be okay if your mom was a customer? If your mom came across this and it represented you so well, and it didn't misrepresent things, that you would be okay with your mom buying off of this? Like, because you wouldn't want your mom having the Semra stock drop misattributed and then making wrong financial decisions.
Yeah.
It's the mom test.
Yeah, and I think in that sense, I know this is a little bit weird, but what we started doing every now and then is adding tiny little like HTML movable elements or interactive elements within a blog post, like something that's going to help you get your point across a little bit better. Like, when not only like accordions, but if you click the slider, it shows you where the data is going, things like that. And in that sense, like I know that my mum loves these little gadgety things where she can play around with it, stay longer on the page. And I don't know, even if it's not so much value, you're still adding some sort of element there that is a little bit different than you took a little bit of time for that. So yeah, I think the mum test is a good one, to be honest.
Yeah. And the dynamic elements too. That's one of the reasons that AInvest succeeded. They had all these dynamic elements within their articles. It's like you could, they gave you different prompts to use for each article. And then you would literally just click that and it would open on the side using their own AI chatbot. And then you could query the AI chatbot about the actual content that you're reading.
That's clever.
And they were real business with real products, and they were doing this to promote their real products. That's another reason why they succeeded. I forget who it was who came on the show. Oh, no, I think it was Gagan Gotra, who's excellent. And he's actually coming on Friday. He's like such a great follower on X and LinkedIn. And he was like, yeah, a lot of the companies that didn't get hit from the HCU, they were really selling things. They weren't monetizing with display ads. They were actually like selling real products. And if you look at AInvest, they were dominating, and we're still doing okay with articles, but they have like real products.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, right? I probably wouldn't start, or I think it'd be very risky trying to make money out of a website selling ads on it. Like, I think I would always want to have my own product. Like, we've seen so many people just completely lose their earnings, and because they don't get that much traffic anymore and they were selling ads on their website. Like, I don't know how much longer that's going to last as a profitable source or like a side hustle that makes sense to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I actually think that if you're a publisher, first of all, like making products nowadays are so easy with AI.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. Yeah. Just build something with Replit into 10 minutes or Cursor. Yeah. And it honestly, nowadays, it's just about the distribution. But if you are a publisher, you have distribution and you have SEO ranking power. So you can build something, use transactional pages to sell it, and then make money with that, and then and use that to fund the rest of the business. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why to be honest, I don't think local SEO has changed that much. Maybe will a little bit more, but I don't think like if you're trying to sell a SaaS and stuff like that, the strategies might change and the way you go about SEO a little bit. But I haven't seen that much actual change within the strategies of local SEO because most of it is transactional pages and it all kind of works the same. Yeah.
Can you talk more about? I wanted to ask you this when you talked about projects before and how amazing they
Yeah.
are. Can you talk more about that?
I honestly believe they are the most underrated feature within a lot of AI tools. People get shiny object syndrome and hop onto the next one. Oh, and there's Manus and there's GenSpark and stuff like that. Like shiny object syndrome is riddled within the AI space. So you can make two incredible things within a project. So you can make a custom content copywriter that understands your website sitemap, that understands your tone of voice, and that understands your experience. You put all those files into it, and when you are writing with it in Canva, it'll spread out, and you can have this collaborative writing that is actually, I think, really, really useful, and you create some really good content. And then the other thing that people don't realize is that you can call a custom GPT within that chat. For example, we've connected a custom GPT to call the data for SEO for certain keywords, and it does the keyword research. So you can essentially write a blog post within your projects, and then at the end of the blog post, you could even call a custom GPT by pressing the @ symbol and saying, "Hey, can you go through this? Do some keyword research on the H1s. Should I be swapping a keyword for something else so it makes more sense and I might get more search?" And all of a sudden, you're mixing quite a lot of other AI tools that you might have to pay for in this one thing that's really, really useful. Like, I think if you're an SEO agency or if you're in a business that has a lot of clients, the best thing you can do is download as much information as you can about that client, put it in that project, and then work there. Like, it's just, for me, it's phenomenal. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. How
Mm.
else are you using AI in your marketing and like even just to make your life more efficient?
I'm using a lot of thumbnails for sure. Amazing. My all my videos, like I'm in a co-work now. I changed the background with banana to make it look professional, but match the lighting, and it makes it look really good. I use a lot of B-roll with that. Really easy with whichever kind of image model you have at the moment.
Oh, so
Uh,
you're actually making your images or video? I mean, obviously both.
Video.
Oh, video. So what are you using
Yeah,
to make video B-roll?
yeah. Gemini or Google VO3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Quen as well, but I think I've got a paid Google account, so I automatically get a few credits. But yeah, I think that is one of the best things. If I can find an editor, you were talking about this the other day, like Descript, that can actually, which I'm sure it's coming really soon. But if I can find an editor that I can give it the video files, the reference video style, and have it like do some editing for me.
I was consulting one of the top like AI clipping platforms, and like even like the top AI clipping platforms, you can't give them a 20-minute podcast and have them make amazing clips for social.
Nah, no, it won't make sense that much. I mean, I'm sure it's only a matter of time, to be honest, the way they're improving, but not at the moment. The other two ways, just before we get down to the rabbit hole of videos, is that I think it might be important for people to realize you can do correct idea. Like for me, as a content creator, one of the hardest things is good ideas. The agents feature has been so essential for me now to crawl my YouTube channel, other people's YouTube channel, and see what's trending and have it scheduled. So every Monday, it gives me a list of content ideas. And then we started experimenting with using it as a lead magnet tool. Sorry, lead generation tool. So, for example, you can get an agent to look through an area of a city. Let's take Dallas again, and look through all the websites of the businesses that are ranking on page 2 to 3, and then go to look at their Google Business profiles and determine those who have less ratings than a 3-star rating, and get all the emails and the website and email ready for them to be able to send. So, and it gives you a Google Sheet or a sheet style format every Tuesday whenever you scheduled it. So you go, okay, Joe's Plumbing has a bad website and his rating is so low. I'll reach out to them with an email or personalized Loom. I think that's another way that we started using that really helps us as well.
What are some areas where people get caught up with shiny object syndrome?
Good question. I think automations, people don't know their own workflows and then try to automate a workflow without understanding what's working for them. Like that's the main thing. They see, oh, I can automate my whole business. But to do that, you need to know what your steps are beforehand and the steps that are actually working. Because they see a video on TikTok or on YouTube about somebody automating their whole entire lives with N8N and they go, oh, I want to do that. And they go, no, that's a really well sold YouTube video. That's not going to solve all your problems. And thinking that the newest AI tool, or thinking that if I get the smarter model, my problems in my business or my life will go away. And it's not the smartest model. Like we've got the smartest model already. We don't need a smarter model. For 99 people out there, GPT-5, all the models that you've got access to, they're smart enough. We're not trying to do rocket science, like for most people out there. So I think the shiny object syndrome is in getting in that rat race of trying to look always for the newest model as opposed to learning how to use the current model to its full capacity. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the image models, like sometimes one comes through every now and then that is worth learning. Like Nano Banana really blew my mind.
Nano Banana is crazy. Yeah. I made some very viral videos about Nano, but actually right when it came out, I don't know if you saw this video I made. So I'm like, try a new Nano Banana today. And I'm like, so I take a picture of myself. I give it to Nano Banana. I'm like, increase my beard by 200%. It looks flawless. And then I'm like, you know what? Make it 500%. Does it? It looks flawless, man. It looks exactly like me with a beard that is 5 times longer. Then I say, give me a crazy twirling mustache. It looks perfect. It looks so. Then I'm like, this is my course. This is my SEO course. Compact keywords. Here's the brand. I want you to make a branded can of kombucha for compact keywords. Makes it on the first try. Then I give that can of kombucha to the me with the mustache and the long beard, and I say, make this guy drinking this can of kombucha, and it nails it. It's nuts. And that video went crazy viral. But I did all of that in like 5 minutes. Man. Yeah.
The only thing that scares me a little bit about that, but I've had the thought of like, how did they get this model so realistic? And then my only thought is, well, they've got access to all Google Photos, like personal Google Photos as well, that they train the model on. And I think that, they've got, I don't know what is above a terabyte, a hectabyte or whatever of personal photos that have been stored on, Google Photos that they've used probably as training data set. Now, whether that matters to anybody, I don't know. And even if they get caught, it's like, well, they're so big and also what are they going to do about it kind of thing. But there has to be some sense where the reason why it's so good is because they've gotten people's photos from straight out of their smartphones to be able to train this thing. I'm assuming.
I might be wrong. I haven't looked into it. It's possible. I mean, at the end of the day, I think most people are way more concerned with their privacy than they should be, because most people do not live lives that are worth caring about. Even me, and I think I'm kind of cool, but I'm just like, I mean, like compared to other people, it's like, I mean, maybe someday I'm going to regret that. I'm going to be like crazy famous and then there's going to be this massive leak and I'm like, oh my God, like I was completely wrong. I mean, I'm pretty careful though, because I spent a few years in crypto, and when you're in crypto, you have to like really learn security and be careful about everything. But
even then, it might not be your fault. Like I got hacked twice because the Australian companies got hacked. So Optus, which is a mobile phone company, and Medicare, which is a medical company, got hacked within 2 months, and I was a customer of both. I was like, all right, great. Well, there goes all my data, and I thought I was being safe, and it was just them. They've lied to customers. Got hacked.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, I mean, I've just kind of I try to be very careful, but I've also just been like, I changed
Yeah,
my
I mean,
passwords, use
yeah,
two-factor auth.
yeah. There's a price to pay. If the product's free, you're the product kind of thing, and you just got to
I
be
do,
understand.
I was thinking about this recently. I don't know if you feel the same way. I feel like I just rely on too many tools. Like, I wish I could simplify my life. It's freaking
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah. I think hence why I've made a conscious effort to. I like playing with new tools. Don't get me wrong, but I'll play with them, and then I'll say really like, okay, can I do this with ChatGPT and the stuff that I've got at the moment? And if the answer is yes, then I don't go for it whatsoever. I think it's like it's a constant thing that I have to remind myself on it. I love new gadgets and stuff like that. And one thing that's making this a lot more accessible now is you can connect an MCP to ChatGPT now, like the front-facing ChatGPT. So recently, we just did a video inside the community where we've connected ChatGPT to OpenRouter, the tool that I showed you before, where you can access every single large language model. So now, within my ChatGPT account, I can access Claude, DeepSeek, Perplexity, and all these other ones. So I don't need to have all these subscriptions before. Some people, maybe you're in this batch, prefer Claude as a content copywriting better tool, right? Now you don't really have to worry about that. So that's the thing where I try to look for the solution within the tool that I've got before going for anything else.
I
Yeah.
I hate so much adding layers of complexity. It's
Yeah.
I always try to, and I try to avoid it to an almost maniacal degree. People are like, "Why don't you just use this tool? Why don't you just do this?" And I'm like, "You don't get it. This like has
Yeah.
crazy downstream effects that is
Yeah.
going to make everything not just more inefficient. It's going to give me a personally massive headaches
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then cost me a lot of money. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mental drain is yeah. Like we're already up to like nearly $2,000 worth of like just subscriptions on tools that I can probably run down even more, to be honest. And that's like I've set a hard limit that if I get a new tool, then I need to get rid of another one.
yeah. Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
I honestly should be taking out like I want to simplify my workflow, but there's like, yeah, I want to simplify. There's always something like, okay, so like I love Descript, but
Yeah.
Descript will have a lot of random outages. Like this weekend, it wasn't syncing between devices properly. And so my editors, their edits, we had to figure out a workaround for that. And if it's not Descript, then maybe like TikTok is going to be having a problem with uploading video. And
Yeah.
or maybe Instagram would be having a problem. And it's like, that sounds fine, but it takes you 40 minutes to figure out that it's actually a problem with the platform and not a problem with you. And now you have to wait. Or there's a problem with, I don't know, what's another common thing that I face? There's like a problem with one of my automations. Oh, that happens all the time. I have all these
Yeah.
automations set up. There's a problem with it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I hate using this many tools because there's always things going wrong. I need to get a head of operations, honestly.
Yeah. I honestly think that the majority of automation software, including the one we're using at the moment, like Make on 8N, will be redundant pretty soon, to be honest. I think like with one subscription of either GPT or Claude, whatever, with MCPs, like I think most automations that people are running, you won't need another tool. You just need to know how to use GPT with MCPs and you're kind of okay.
So how have you simplified things just doing that?
So not so much now, but I know it'll get better. Let me give you an example. Like you can have an automation that scrapes Google My Business accounts, and then you can have the other side of the automation scrape their website so they know what they're about, and then the last part of the automation is making an email for them and sending that email to the person to say, hey, we can help you out in X, Y, and Z. For that, you need pretty serious automation software like N8N or Make. But you'll be able to connect GPT with things like Appify, which is just a platform that allows you to scrape practically any platform on the internet. And with that alone, the fact that I can connect GPT via an MCP to Appify, to Google Sheets, and to my emails, I'll be able to do that automation within the same. I mean, I'll have to join a few API keys here and there, but I won't have to download or get a subscription to the whole other platforms. It'll just be with one. And I think that's coming a lot sooner than we realize, that connection. And that is the connection, because at the moment it's a bit clunky. You can also connect it directly to WordPress or to Webflow. So when you're writing an article, once you're ready, you say, hey, can you publish this to my website? And then can you publish a version of this to Facebook and see? So like these things are pretty much here. They're a tiny bit clunky at the moment, but that's just a matter of time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always, I don't know. I'm just like, there's always something crazy. Like, so I talked about when I went into your school community, I talked about repurpose.io. If you want to use repurpose.io, please use reusevideo.com. But for the beginning, when I was using it, basically for the first year that I was using it, Instagram was suppressing reels that were published with third-party platforms.
Yeah, I think TikTok does the same, to be honest. Yeah.
And so I had a million viral videos from TikTok that were coming out with this automation to Instagram that were being suppressed. I made the most viewed video in the world on the Silicon Valley bank collapse in the world, and I made it on TikTok, and it came out automatically on Instagram, and on Instagram it got 1,000 views or 500 views. On TikTok, it got like 15 million, and it was completely suppressed. And that happened with so many other videos. And then after like 10 months, or maybe it was like a year, Instagram, I think they fixed it, because I have people who say that like they use this automation, their videos come out on TikTok, and 6 months later they have a following of 150,000 people on Instagram. Their videos come out from TikTok to Instagram with this automation, and in 6 months they go from 0 followers to 150,000 followers with this automation on Instagram. So it looks like Instagram has fixed it, but I'm paranoid, and now I upload my videos manually to Instagram.
We found the same thing. Well, I got paranoid. I was using Repurpose.io to go from TikTok to everywhere. The only one that didn't get, I found, is like penalized was on YouTube Shorts, but for some reason Instagram just never got like above 1,000 every now and then, sometimes with videos that would do so well in TikTok. So I found the exact same thing using Repurpose.io, and I think I would assume it's because of that. They don't like
to. Let me tell you what's so crazy about it. I'm friends with the founder of Repurpose.io, because I'm like one of their biggest affiliates. So I know the founder quite well.
Right.
And he's like, when I showed him this, he's like, this is crazy, because we literally have like a Facebook rep. Like we talk to Facebook. Facebook has told us to do this exactly. And yeah, now I think it's probably fine. But there are all these, like, when you set up all these automations, there are all these like weird things that you don't. I'm not against automations at all, because I have a million automations. I'm more so just like, I know that I'm going to automate something, save a ton of time, and then figure out some way to add complexity into my life, because now I have more time to do more things. And that's where I'm like, damn, that's what it is.
The snake eating its own tail,
you
mate.
Stop worrying about one thing, and then you're like, okay, great, I can worry about this next thing. And there's always another thing.
You are the problem.
I'm the problem. Yo, thank you. Finally, like, I didn't realize it, but you're right.
That's good. To be honest, probably the same thing happens to me and a lot of people. That's good though. Well, the first step is admitting it.
The first step is admitting it. Nico, you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing the show, and for showing your screen, and for sharing everything. This was so much fun. Where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at AIrankingschool.com. And if you're inside school already, you can always search for AI Ranking. We have a free community if you want to get your toes wet before going into the premium community, where we'll help you out. You can try it out risk-free for 7 days as well. And on YouTube at Nico at AI Ranking as well. I think our contents overlap, but obviously with me, you'll find a little different stuff. So welcome to check that out. Reach out to us. Thanks, man. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can have this conversation again, maybe get you in the community again.
That would be great. For people who don't know, I was in Nico's community last Tuesday. Yeah, it was awesome. And all of your links will be in the description for this show. So thank you again for coming on. And
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for everybody who is watching and listening. This is episode 812 of The Edward Show. This is my daily digital marketing podcast, 812 days in a row doing this show. Nico is like, how have you done it for 812 days in a row and not gotten burned out? And I'm like, that's the secret. I am. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.